Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Upsurge Minor League Week 4. My name is Finnick. Joining me on the desk today is Nightstar, the Sova one trick now, I think. Totally Sova, not anyone else. Don't give him anyone else. We're getting ready to go. It's BINX, Rebirth, Embers versus BINX Warriors. Coming up in a few seconds.
Yeah. That's going to be our series for today. Now, regarding that Sova thing, played a solid only one game of Sova, so I cannot confirm whether or not I am indeed a Sova main. But BINX Rebirth, you can tell from their name that they really don't like Joe Scova.
Perhaps they could also just be BINX mains, you know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, right click, throw that one out. B. Oh man. Anyways, game number 1, unfortunately, ends up going to BINX Rebirth without any games being played, due to an E-sub by the side of BINX Warriors. So we will be starting that series with 1 win to BINX Rebirth and 0 wins to BINX Warriors. That is just the way that this goes sometimes, but let's talk about these two teams as we get ready to go for the pro draft. BINX Warriors currently sitting at 1-2 overall in the Ocean Division of the UML, as BINX Rebirth currently looking for their first match win.
Yeah, BINX Rebirth still looking for that match win. They have taken 2 games in series, and obviously starting out with a game 1 default does add that number, add to that number, bringing it up to 3. But you know, they have been able to win games. It's just a matter of bringing it all together for the full 3-game shebang. And I mean, pick and bans should be very interesting. I know BINX Projecti wasn't one of their members before. This in previous series, along with Rune, Laws, and Skatepat. Although Skatepat is a emergency sub, I believe. That's I think that's the emergency sub here.
I believe that is the E-sub. In fact, we are getting into the pro draft right now. Senna Orin being bent away at the moment. We have seen BINX been playing a lot towards that weak side top lane with their previous top laner having played Orin 3 times, Shen once so far this season. Senna Ezreal immediately from BINX, though. They're banning out the spot lane from the side of BINX. Interesting to see the Senna and Ezreal ban when Varus has been a consistent pickup for Trough as well as the Ashe. I'll wonder if they're going to ban the Varus here, or if they're going to try to first pick it for themselves.
Yeah, certainly the Senna pick is something to really just deny away from Trough. He's just played so many games of that, over 100 games in solo queue already on that champion, so you know he can definitely pull that one off. And BINX actually go for the Varus ban at the end, and I'm surprised because if you look at BINX Warriors history, they've actually been able to get their hands on Varus 5 games, which is a ridiculous rate for perhaps the strongest AD carry in the game.
Yeah, and of course the Trundle ban as well from BINX Warriors. We do know that Trundle is a pickup that Phoenix Rebirth likes picking up quite a bit. They've picked that 3 times. They picked J4 once, Olaf 3 times, and immediately the Olaf gets picked into the Sejuani from BINX alongside the Yuumi, despite the Ezreal being banned away. Interested to see the Yuumi here, as they've only played that once previously this season. Kog'Maw Lulu from BINX Warriors, though.
Yeah, the instant response of Lulu Cog here. And Olaf Yuumi is a nice little duo. Sure, you don't have the Ezreal, but when you have an Olaf and a Yuumi, it does allow you with some pretty strong mid-game fighting with the Yuumi ultimate on top of the Ragnarok. But the Philios will get locked in. So we have the potential of not just 200 years, but 300 years in action with the Philios Yuumi duo.
Yeah, interesting to see Phoenix play weak side bot here with the Aphelios. They have had a preference towards the Xayah and the Varus in the past. Their top lane are typically playing towards the weak side of things with the Ornn, with the Mundo. Interesting to see if they're going to try to play strong side mid here, as Galio gets banned away by BINX Warriors. Typically not something you're going to ban away unless you want to pick something of an AP assassin variety, typically someone like a LeBlanc, an Echo, Kassadin, Akali, or the like. And we do see LeBlanc has been on Barbacoa's play list recently, so that does make quite a bit of sense. From BINX Warriors, Soraka going to be banned away by Phoenix Rebirth. Don't want to deal with the Soraka top. Probably going to pick up a tank as well.
Yeah. And I mean, for the side of Phoenix Rebirth, they've just been really hard focused on just building mid-game compositions. If you look at the kind of champions they end up playing with, such as the Galio, the Olaf, it's very snowbally type comps. They have to get going either early game or really hit that mid game really hard with a lot of team fights. So now we're going to be looking at what these solo lanes are going to shape up. Heimerdinger going to be locked in for Phoenix Rebirth. It is his most played champion for Kim in that mid lane. Now, it just kind of becomes a question of what do you pick into it, because a lot of melee matchups do struggle during the lane phase against Heimerdinger because of those turrets and the fact that he is a ranged champion, so you end up taking a lot of harass, but he is also very fragile in the mid lane. So an assassin like Akali, while will struggle, once she does hit that level 6, does get that Hextech Gunblade, then the matchup reverses really heavily.
Yeah, I'm interested to see why they picked the Akali here as opposed to the LeBlanc. I think LeBlanc deals with Heimerdinger a bit better and is in BINX's wheelhouse. They pick up the Gnar for the top lane, very safe, weak side blind pick here. There isn't a lot that you can do up against a Gnar unless you pick something like a Quinn or another ranged top laner. So we'll see how Phoenix wants to pick this one. Appears to be the Kled into the Gnar here, and this one hasn't been picked up by Phoenix Rebirth in the past, although we'll see if they can make this one work for them this game. Of course, they are up 1-0 in the series by default here, so playing towards that mid side, or I should say mid game, with the solo lane focus from this Olaf looks to be the game plan from Phoenix Rebirth.
Yeah, and if you look at Phoenix Rebirth's composition, it's just really terrifying at that 15 to 20 minute mark because of the initiation power on this squad. You have the Kled ultimate to just allow the Olaf to run forward with absolute impunity. He has the Yuumi on top of him for extra move speed. The Yuumi has multiple options here. Can just jump on the Olaf during that mid game, or the Kled, and then when it comes to late game, has the fallback option of jumping onto the Philios. And the Heimerdinger's role in this composition is really to just apply as much peel for the Philios in this game. While is a fairly high DPS champion, that really only goes if they start diving you. But the amount of peel that you can provide as a Heimerdinger definitely going to be useful against the likes of Akali and Gnar. That said, for BINX Warriors, the Akali and Gnar will be the big focal points, being able to try and get into that backline to try and cause havoc. And of course, then you have the really stable backline of the Lulu Kog'Maw. So we're getting some really interesting backline duos with the Philios Yumi, the new age hyper carry duo, and then the old school hyper carry duo, the Kog'Maw Lulu.
Yeah, and obviously Lulu Kog'Maw, we've seen popping up a bit over the past few patches as kind of an answer to other weak side bot lanes, such as the Aphelios, able to stay back, especially one up against something like a Yumi and not a heavy engaged support. Really kind of get the Kog'Maw up to the point where, you know, he has his Quincy's Rage Blade, he's starting to just pop living artillery constantly. And you have this safe front line of the Sejuani Gnar to enable this Kog'Maw to do that in these fights, while your only backline dive from Phoenix Rebirth is really from this Kled and to an extent the Olaf. But once again, Olaf has to go through a Sejuani and a Gnar to get to the Kog'Maw in the first place.
Yeah, there's a lot more to try and get through for the side of BINX Warriors before you actually get access into that Lulu Kog'Maw, and even then the Lulu is just really annoying to deal with as well. So there's a lot on this Olaf to get snowballed early game into that mid game. So when they start using those Kled ultimates, he actually gets a lot of value instead of being some big health tank by going Cinder Hulk and just getting absolutely obliterated by the Kog'Maw. So yeah, there's a lot on Phoenix to hit the ground running here. Sure, they have a Philios Yumi for the late game and the Heimerdinger, but it becomes really difficult to play a 3v5 late game.
Yeah, especially when you have a Kled that needs to get ahead in lane. You picked him into the Gnar, so I assume Liam is very open to this particular matchup and thinks that he can win it. Gnar, of course, is a matchup that a lot of people have a hard time winning against because Gnar is just such a safe pick. You can go ahead, slow you with his boomerang, stay back, and then really come into his own in that mid to late game split push, whereas Kled needs to get ahead in lane to actually get that mid game split push rolling. Speaking of mid to late game, though, we do see this Akali pickup alongside of Sejuani for the side of BINX. So they're going to have lane prio mid after Akali gets Gunblade, of course, up against the Heimerdinger, who will have lane priority pretty much up until that point. But you have a Sejuani who wants to power farm up against an Olaf who can get some pretty nasty invades on if the Akali isn't ready to follow the Olaf into the jungle.
Yeah, but the one of the drawbacks of the Heimerdinger pick, though, is the fact that this is very much a lane champion where your roams are not very good. You can't just walk over to help out the Olaf because you do require having your turrets available to you to actually be able to help out. So usually when you're roaming, you have one, maybe you have two, because you're mostly focused on throwing down the turrets in the lane. So that will definitely be something to keep watch of.
Yeah, lane priority mid, as you said, going over to the Heimerdinger, but it's going to be tough for him to follow the Olaf. We are going to have to throw it to a quick break, though, as we wait for the last little bit of spectator delay and to load into the game. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of the Upsurge Minor League. Before that, though, we have a quick word from our sponsor.
Started with a vision of quality, a vision of uniformity. We took the time to create something familiar yet refreshing, something with a bit of change.
Designed to fit any brand's unique vision.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Upsurge Minor League. My name is Finnick. Joining me on the desk today is Breach One Trick Night Star, and we're getting ready to go in Game 2, essentially, of our best of 3 between BINX Warriors and Phoenix Rebirth Embers.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Yep. Correct. That everything you said, I agree.
Yes, Breach One Trick, of course.
Exactly. I actually do play a lot of Breach. I enjoyed that agent a lot. I love his quote when he ults because it's just he brings the hype where he just goes, "Let's go!" which is exactly my reaction when I was told that I'd be casting UML tonight.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course. BINX Warriors, of course, on the blue side. Skate Pat in the top lane. Nox Av in the jungle. Barbacoa in the mid lane. Projecki in AD carry. And Rune Laws in support.
Yeah, and over on the red side, we've got Phoenix Rebirth here. Hard stuck Liam in the top side. George De La Jungle in the jungle. Kim Jong Hug in the mid lane. Trophy and Frozen rounding out in that bottom side. So one of the interesting things is the fact that you look at the summoner choices in that bottom lane. We actually see the exhaust being taken by the Kog'Maw just to give himself some self-peel when the Kled jumps in onto him. Of course, it's not going to really have an impact onto the Olaf when he's running in with Ragnarok, but it definitely will help to deal with the Kled. And on the flip side, you have Trophy going with the barrier instead of something a little more aggressive, whether it is that heal or exhaust summoner, to just have a couple more options to him.
Yeah. That said, only 3 conquerors this game. So at least we don't get half of all players in the Conqueror. Fleet Footwork actually going to be taken on Barbacoa here, interestingly. I typically will say Akali's good with the Electrocute here, but I do understand the use of that. As Hardstuck Liam actually did not respect Skate Pat Snarbar there. He's going to dash forward, going to get Boomerang in first blood already. Skate Pat picking up a nice one for himself. And you really have to respect that first Narbar from this Gnar. George De La Jungle coming up here, gets caught in the Boomerang, doesn't get the axe, but Skate Pat will flash, follow up by Liam into the Bear Trap and a Rope, and he will trade the kill back. Overall, though, gold goes in favor of BINX Warriors as bot lane trades start happening. I hope they're just trades.
It looks like it's just going to be some trades. But in that top side, yeah, it was a very good flash follow-up coming in from the Kled to make sure the Bear Trap on Rope tether maintained its tether range, knowing that Skate Pat would flash away. So actually a really well executed play, but having dropped that first blood to the Gnar, still a little bit rough in that regard. But again, trading 1-for-1's not too bad, and just making sure you are able to get snowballed to that mid-game point to have a load of gold to get really aggressive here.
Oh, Hardstuck Liam gets Scarl back as directed camera shows us mid. But something I do think is interesting to see here is we have the Grasp of the Undying from Skate Pat, which I believe is the typical Gnar build at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. But at the same time, I almost would have wanted to see something a little bit more aggressive to deal with the Kled earlier.
Yeah, I mean, there are early game options such as the Airy, or things like the Press to Attack, which used to be seen as well. Conqueror, possibly as a scaling option. But we do see an early Dragon Call actually coming out from Phoenix Rebirth as they try and get this early Inferno, which is going to be very nice for them, also plays to the fact that they want to snowball
EP play
early
though.
on.
Here comes Noxav dashing back in, not able to get the smite as it will go over to the red side. Noxav gonna flash out of the way. Escape Pad has a full Gnar bar. Won't be able to get the stun on the transformation as George Shilla Jungle flashes out of the way. A couple of flashes blown, but Phoenix Rebirth Embers makes their way out with the dragon and no deaths from either team.
Yeah, and very interesting that they would pull the teleports for that early play onto the dragon, because again, this is a composition that is going to scale. You don't need to force these early plays, and now that means that Skate Pad, he's going to fall behind, has dropped a wave in CS here, will also fall behind in the EXP department, and that could open up for some sort of play with George, as we're going to see a fight around the Scuttle Crab.
3v2 knocks out, pulled back by the Bears, are up on the rope, and he will get pulled in and dead. George Shilla Jungle gonna pick up that kill as Rebirth pops the perfect execution, flash forward, gets it onto Big. Escape Hat gets the kill, but there goes the Akali as Escape Hat tries to make his way out. Will dodge the rockets from the Heimerdinger, gonna try to cut his way out, but here comes the Clyde double kill for hard stuck Liam, and he ain't looking hard stuck right now, as 3 for 1 in favor of Phoenix Rebirth Embers happens towards that top scuttle.
Yeah, and again, this is a scaling composition. Remember that as time goes by, they naturally get stronger. So when they opt for these fights, arbitrary fights, just trying to get a Scuttle Crab, which is 100 gold, instead of getting or just giving up that 100 gold, they decide to give up pretty much a 1200 gold because of kills and assists gold going back and forth. Sure, they get 1 kill back, but is that truly enough to make a difference? No, it's not.
Yeah, Kim Jong-hug though, pretty alright for himself in the mid lane up against the Akali. 2 assists to his name, has a little bit of a CS lead now. Barbacoa currently sitting on the revolver and boots. Gunblade still a ways out as Clyde pops a charge. Escape Hat, not long for this world. You would imagine Ragnarok follow up and Escape Hat goes down.
Nope.
George Shilla Jungle picks that one up, I believe, off the back of an axe. And early game going to Phoenix Rebirth Embers right now is kind of to be expected, but I don't think anyone expected them to get this far ahead this early right now. Almost 1,500 gold at this 8-minute mark.
Yeah, and once again, it really just takes 2 to really tango here. And it's not just the fact that, yes, George is playing very forward. He is going into the rivers to be aggressive, contest for these objectives, river objectives, but the fact that the side of BINX have opted into these aggressive plays as well, handshaking them, taking the 50-50, that is also something that you do need to criticize as well.
Yeah. Escape Pat now a whole 21 CS down on hard stuck Liam at the moment. We do see some plates start to fall though across these lanes, namely in the bottom lane, where interestingly enough, the Lulu Kog'Maw is able to get a nice advantage. Perfect execution into the 5-point strike. He's in and out. Barbacoa picks up a solo kill on the Kim Jong-hug, and that should mean he gets his Hextech Revolver on this next back, even closer to the Gunblade.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get the bilge water. But Skate Pat,
no, I'm not sure about this one, Chief. Oh, back into the bot lane, into the knockup. Yumi Ultimate will be popped. Rune Loss takes the damage from it, but was not tanking the towers. That will be traded for the Sejuani. Aphelios goes down, Sejuani as well, but that's worthwhile for the BINX Warriors bot lane.
Yeah, that 1-for-1 trade is going to be in favor of them because of the fact they're going to be able to continue sieging down this tower, get an additional plate, and also deny extra minion waves from that Aphelios. And, ooh, okay, Barbacoa, he might be looking to go for a trade here. Does just hold on to that tower for his top laner, and Now we're gonna see the rotate coming in from Skatepat, and again, all of this stems. The reason why he's behind in this lane up top side is the fact that he used that teleport at level 5 to go for a dragon that was pretty much already completed.
Yeah, this isn't a particularly strong early game comp, as we kind of mentioned earlier. You have Gnar, you have Sejuani, who wants the power farm. Really, your only strong early game is Barbacoa, who is starting to come online himself. So hopefully, for the side of BINX Warriors, right, you're able to make this transition into the mid game a lot smoother. Ragnarok, though, gets popped. Noxav has the ultimate available to him as Barbacoa goes into the back line, moves back with a 5-point strike. Gonna find his way on a trophy, but he will be stunned up as Kim Jong-hug, meanwhile, flashes out of the way of Skatepad. Barbacoa gets him with a perfect execution, though, and that will be 1 kill thus far. They might look for a little bit more as Projecki has the living artillery, but here comes a charge from the Clyde. He's able to get onto Projecki as Trophy tries to make his way in, and the Glacial Prison should make sure the fight goes the way of BINX Warriors, as there was no follow-up available from Phoenix Rebirth. Here comes Noxav, though. The Moonlight Vigil gets onto Barbacoa, but he's not able to get any kills. The Lulu ultimate comes in. He does in the backline. 5-point strike. Gets the kill. He goes on a killing spree. Final chapter gonna be popped. Yuumi able to get the 3-man root, but his AD carry goes down regardless. Frozen gets killed into Rune Loss. Projecki tries to make his way out of the fight. It's just the Yuumi and the Olaf. Flash forward. Barbacoa gets 5-point strike. It's a shutdown. Triple kill now for the side of Barbacoa. Skatepad steals the Quadra away. BINX make their way out of that fight with a 4-4-3 as Kim Jong-hug respawns as well as Trophy.
And yeah, wow, what a fight. That was so chaotic. There was so much back and forth happening. You saw the reason why Phoenix Rebirth wanted to stick around. You saw the low health bars over on the side of BINX. And that was why they just felt incentivized to continue hanging around, trying to get that turnaround. And sure, they started out fine with that turnaround, but Barbacoa was still alive. And once he got the execution onto Philios, that fight was over. There was no way for the side of Phoenix Rebirth to actually trade all the way back. Sure, they could get some return frags, but they weren't going to be able to actually pull out the team fight win. And now Barbacoa has the finished, completed Hextech Gunblade, and this is where things get really, really tragic for the Heimerdinger.
Yeah, you can plant the spike all you want, but you always got to be ready for the retake. And BINX did very well there at dealing with Phoenix's retake, as it were. They will end up taking down this tower in the bottom lane. Won't be first tower, but still will be pre-14 bonus for getting the entire turret down over onto Projecki on the Kog'Maw. That said, though, once again, Barbacoa now 4-1-2 on the Akali. He's online, and this is the exact kind of mid-game transition that this team needed to get.
Yeah, and they are doing quite well for themselves in that mid lane and also in that bottom lane. If you look at the Lulu Kog'Maw, they are definitely online as well. In comparison to the Philios, you have a 1,400 gold lead onto your Kog'Maw. So Kog'Maw's going to be hitting this mid game quite hard with the completed Bladed Rune King. Of course, once he gets to that Ginsu's Rage Blade, he will be doing so much damage here. And
oh no, he finds Kim Jong-hug. Barbacoa, perfect execution, and despite the upgraded turret, it will go over. Here comes the charge, though. They're looking for the final chapter, only able to get a 1-on-1, but he will get ulted by Lulu. Noxav gonna make his way out of the fight as Hardsuck Liam tries to find his way on a Noxav, can't find it as Rune Loss is here, as well as Projecki doing quite a bit of damage. Scarl is gone. Here comes Skatepat looking on the side of the fight. Hardsuck Liam taking on solo. Projecki gonna get the kill, but Rune Loss gets the kill. Credit his Trophy. Gonna get zoomies by the Yuumi to stay alive for the time being. BINX Warriors get 2 kills and lose none.
Yeah, and then right now, the Kog'Maw is just so damn strong here. Also having the Lulu buff, it does feel like that gold lead is even more because of the sensor that will be applied to him. On the flip side, you have the Grail onto Frozen, which means that you're going to be able to empower your Kled, your Olaf a little bit harder in this mid game, but it just doesn't empower them as hard as something like the Center, giving that extra stats. It only gives extra health here. So it's going to be mostly reliant on these players to be able to execute themselves, whereas for the Kog'Maw, he basically gets another half item for free because of that sensor.
Yeah, and that Ardent Sensor, of course, gonna keep on giving dividends over to the side of BINX Warriors as the Kog'Maw continues to come online. Now has the pickaxe once again. Gwentу's Rage Blade, that is the item you're looking to see. Meanwhile, we see the Akali starting to build towards what is probably going to be an Oblivion Orb to make sure she can get the Cephalios and Heimerdinger out of the fight as soon as possible. We see Black Cleaver being completed for Hardsuck Liam, as we see the ultimate from the Cephalios onto Projecti. He gets ulted by the Lulu, but he will go down as Yuumi pops the final chapter. Goose back to trophy with the Zoomies. Ragnarok under tower, double kill for George Jungle. Noxav gonna try to make his way out of the fight as Barbacoa, meanwhile, trades with Hardsuck Liam in the bottom lane. Phoenix Rebirth Embers gets 2 in the mid lane tower.
Yeah, and just a mistake coming in from Projecti. Thought he would be safe with that Lulu with him, but this is a full damage Olaf. Warrior in chat Olaf does mean that if the Kog'Maw is locked down here, at least at this stage in the game, he will indeed get blasted apart. And it isn't until you get past that level 11 point where Olaf starts slowing down, where he's past those 2 items of the Black Cleaver and the Warrior, that things will get better. He needs that Lulu to get more levels under her as well, to get that extra health from the help picks and the wild growth, to be able to just endure this onslaught coming in from Kled Olaf.
Yeah, we see the Akali predictably grabbing the Oblivion Orb. We don't have any real MR on Hardstuck Liam either. It appears that the Akali is going to be more matching the Kled than the Heimerdinger. So once again, nice itemization pickup here alongside the Sorts will basically mean she does true damage. Meanwhile, here comes Nara right into the ultimate, and Skate Pack gets a solo kill on a Kim Jong Hug. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, though, we see the dragon started. It is the Mountain Dragon for the first point towards Soul. Barbacoa on the side, as is Projecti. Noxav might be looking for a way into the fight as Georgilla Jungle here with the charge. Projecti get a flash. Not able to get the knockout from the charge. Runeless is here to try to keep his AD carry alive as Noxav goes over the wall. Unstoppable. Gonna pop. Noxav flashing over as Yuumi Osman gets popped. Georgilla Jungle goes on killing spree. He's able to get the kill on to the Kog'Maw. Meanwhile, though, Barbacoa was able to get the Aphelios perfect execution on to the enemy top laner. Now Georgilla Jungle forces a flash from the wall. He wants to get on a Noxav before he dies. He will through the Ragnarok, and the Yuumi healing will keep him alive for the time being. 2 for 2 around this dragon as the respawn comes out for the Heimerdinger. Skate Pat has the TP.
Get more.
Here comes more. Kim Jong Hug making the TP in. Barbacoa gonna make his way out with the shuriken flip. 5-point strike combo. Moves his way back in. Gonna get ignited up. Stunned up. There goes the Heimerdinger. Shut down. Flash forward. Ultimate from the Gnar. He's able to get on the 3, but Rune Loss is the only form of damage he has left. Escape Hat has to make his way out of the fight. Double kill for the Heimerdinger. And on Rune Loss all on his own. Has a shield, but he will end up falling as Trophy is here to make sure this Lulu falls, and it is going to be 3 more kills to Phoenix Rebirth Embers, as well as the first Mountain Dragon of the game.
And an absolute tragedy of a fight for the side of BINX Warriors, opting for an 18-minute fight for a dragon that doesn't have much meaning here, because it is only that second dragon for either team. You're not trying to delay it, try and delay the third dragon, or trying to stop the Soul Drake coming through, and they still opt for that fight. And if you look at the initial positioning, it starts off with the fact that Kog'Maw is out by himself trying to flank. I don't know what your thoughts are on AD carry positioning, but flanking an entire team that has Olaf and Kled is not ideal.
Only if you're Tristana. Tristana can make it work. But at the moment, that is not a Tristana. That is
that's a Kog'Maw.
And he's got to stay back as the Kled tries to go for a cheeky little blue steel, won't find it. Plays towards the top side of this map, happening from BINX Warriors, is they want to be able to get priority towards this Baron pit to get the vision. 7-2-2 is the Akali, but meanwhile 7-2-7, Jorchola Jungle on this Olaf has been doing so much this early game, about to hit his second completed item here, which should be the Spirit Visage. And we already see the preliminary or preemptive Morello Nomicon from Barbacoa to deal with this Olaf.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the Morella Nomcon's necessarily used for the Olaf here. I would say it's more so for the Yumi that's riding on the Olaf.
I mean, both.
Yeah, the Yumi is going to be getting pretty much a free ride here in these fights with how strong that Olaf is. But Barbacoa does have enough damage to just blast anyone.
Charge pops, but Hardstuck Liam ends up in a bit of trouble. Perfect execution, 5-point strike, and Barbacoa picks up the kill. Meanwhile, though, in the top lane, this means go time towards this Baron. It is going to be Barbacoa with the TP. Here comes the Sejuani, knocked up, gets caught out, and he will end up falling as the Baron goes over to the red side here. TP gonna be channeled from Barbacoa. Escape Pack gonna try to make his way over the wall, but Kim Jong-hug is already there with the flash, and it will just be a TP out of Escape Pack a little bit late, and BINX Rebirth Embers able to get a Baron in a dire situation.
Yeah, and I would just say that it's pretty much all according to plan here. You get the best Baron taking weapons onto Phileas with the Crescendum and that Severum. You just go straight to Baron. You absolutely annihilate Baron with those weapons. And also the fact that you have the Heimer ultimate, which at this point is on a very low cooldown. You can just throw the ultimate turret to help you tank the tower and or tank the Baron and just do more damage to Baron as well. So the Baron taking ability on this squad is incredibly immense, which is why they go for what seems to be a hyper aggressive Baron take. Just makes so much sense given the tools they have on this composition.
Yeah, Scapehat has had the first mount for a bit, but it is worth pointing out that he does have that. He's going to be down half an item at the moment to Hardstuck Liam, about 2,000 gold himself. But Gnar, as always, in any game, items don't really matter all that much if he's able to get his ultimate down in these fights, and if he's able to get the TPs in place in time. As we saw there, TP timing is everything. As if Barbacoa got into that fight earlier, I think BINX should have won that.
Yeah, there definitely was that possibility, but now Scapehat is going to just get
Final
caught
chapter,
out here.
rooted up into his squishy form, and Jorchola Jungle picks up the kill, now 9-2-7.
Yeah, there just really wasn't much of an escape path for him. He just was too far up. Really, they could just force that top lane turret, given the fact that they had minions coming down, and the ultimate used by Kled just to run off is yeah, that's kind of just the story of this matchup right now. Given the fact that the Akali is online, it's whoever they put into that lane will not have fun. And right now it's just the Kled, because if you put the Heimerdinger without flash, the Heimerdinger dies every single time. But with the Kled, at least you're able to use your ultimate when that is off of cooldown to try and get out of these sticky situations. Just wait for the cooldown to come back up and then continue to lane.
Dragon fight once again. Looks
It's a
like
two-level
it should be
difference.
uncontested. Yeah, Jorchola Jungle just gonna blast going over, but here comes the Sejuani. He gets the steal! 2 levels down? Are you kidding me? And he flashes out? Hold up, that's not supposed to happen!
Yeah, the 2-level difference is, so a 1-level difference is not as meaningful, but when you start hitting the 2 or the 3-level difference, that's when things do start to actually become impactful. And right there you saw that, sure, he was 2 levels down, but he was still able to find the burst damage, and that's actually a big steal, because not only do they get the steal, they stay alive. Oh my god.
Final chapter, he's unstoppable!
Oh my god.
It's a huge three-man ulti double kill for the all flash forward. Gonna try to get on escape head. He is cutting out. Gets the ultimate back under the tower. Triple kill for Jorshula Jungle. You may have gotten this mountain dragon, but you ain't getting this jungler.
Yeah, and they might just be able to go for more here. The death timers are long enough that they could grab a Nexus tower if they chose to go for that, but they will indeed just back off here. And with Baron just still quite a ways away here, they'll most likely just take this top side of the jungle, recall, and then start looking to come back to that Baron pit.
Yeah, and that fight, right, started out with a nice final chapter. It started out with a nice Olaf ultimate. But really, Trophy, three-man root off the Moonlight Vigil, that is insane.
Yeah, the root was the big key part of that fight, being able to, I think he had Infernum when he went for that play, so he basically just used the Q onto the Infernum gun, got that AoE lockdown, and then went for the follow-up Gravitum cast, and that's why we get that three-man route. And then it's just so easy to follow that route up with the three-man Yumi ultimate, and then just allowing your Olaf to continue to plow forward.
Yeah, and you know, Olaf may be from the Freljord, but looks to me like he's very familiar with the Virtus Plow regardless. Joke for you CSGO fans out there, although VP hasn't been the same in a while.
They have definitely not looked the same. There's no semblance of plow. Only plop.
Only plop. Man, as someone who was an Immortals fan during that one major where like Gambit ended up winning and like VP was, oh man, I was so excited when Immortals was like, oh yeah, we beat VP, and then all of a sudden Gambit with the 2000 IQ nade.
With, you mean X-God himself?
Oh my god. As it appears, my client may have decided that it was going to crash. Thank you, Riot.
Oh, okay. So I'm solo casting.
Yeah, solo casting until my client
baby.
reconnects.
Well, they have the guns here for them. They have Severum and Crescendum. So once again, we just see the repeat, blast Baron and take the free 1500 gold. So that happened. And with waves where they are, they can definitely look for some sort of game-ending push. They have supers coming in mid lane. Are they just going to run down mid? It looks like that will be the play. They have Liam with that ultimate available, so that's going to be the next cooldown used.
If I may ask, what is our time at the moment?
We are at 28, 26, 7, 8, 9, 30 as they are taking Nexus towers.
30 seconds ahead of you, and I can't actually get any further
behind. That's unfortunate, but so I guess I'm doing 20 seconds of casting, and then you can come back in.
Yeah, no, I'll just go ahead and pause 29:17.
All right, 29:17 it is, but it looks like they are looking to start reconvening around this dragon now, as we just hit 29 minutes. And we are at 5, 6, 7, so 10 more seconds until we get Finnick back into the game. And 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
And bottom tower push, we go with the Baron buff. Heartsuck Liam doesn't have Scarl, though. About to get his courage back as the TP gets channeled. Nara tries to make his way in, but here comes the charge into the final chapter. Unstoppable goes the enemy jungler as he tries to make his way out of the fight. Heartsuck Liam loses Scarl again, knocks out, gets taken out super low, but he will stay alive for the time being off the Lulu's shield. And Project, a little bit far forward, gets chunked out by the Heimerdinger as the bot lane tower falls. They need to regroup by the Nexus, but they will end up losing yet another inhibitor in the bot lane. And that should mean the Mountain Dragon for Phoenix Rebirth Embers.
Yeah, getting that Mountain Dragon, getting to Soul Point here, or at least being able to threaten it, will be really important. And really, everything just going really well here. It does look like BINX want to try and contest it. They could just get the steal.
Again!
Yeah, it happened.
What? And he gets out alive.
Gets out scot-free. Nothing worse for wear. And there's definitely a very big chance for the side of BINX Warriors to just win this game outright off the back of Nox getting 2 steals. This should just be a Mountain Soul obtained right now by the side of Phoenix Rebirth, but instead they're put in a position where if the side of BINX secure themselves that Mountain Soul, all of a sudden it's just that much harder to kill the Lulu Kog'Maw combination. It becomes that much harder to deal with the Sejuani, who has yet to build resistances. Once those resistances come through,
Gonna get the Yumi combo off, and there's not much response. Heartcyclium gets a kill onto the Kog'Maw. There's no damage. Escape Hat gets taken down very low. He will not fall, but Barbacoa forced to use the stopwatch. Goes back in with a perfect execution, but he will get taken down by Trophy. And now Kog'Maw going to regret losing his life so early as Nox have fallen. Escape Hat and Rune Lost kite back all the way to the fountain, but the Nexus turrets are going down. Turret goes down. One more. Escape Hat moving its way back to the fountain. They just need to get 3 kills, but I don't think it's going to be worth it. And Phoenix Rising Embers, or Phoenix Rebirth Embers, I should say, will take the series 2-0.
and they just run straight down mid. Who cares about Mountain Soul? They just go straight down and get the finish, catching out Projecki once again. The Kog'Maw positioning this game, even though he had a fantastic lane phase, had fantastic CS going into the mid game, even continuing through to that 30-minute points, but in the end,
George Jungle just made this game impossible for BINX.
he just trucked them over. Olaf Yumi. This is why we see Olaf still be favored as a standalone pick. It's pretty awful, but when you bring in something like the Karma or the Yumi to empower him to just charge straightforward with impunity like that, then you definitely get your maximum value out of that pick.
Yeah, and I believe that should be it for the series, as once again, Phoenix Rebirth was awarded a point for the first game, I do believe. So, really well played to them. They pick up their first series win of the season. Will end up bumping themselves up in the division, as it were. Going to be 1-3 in the Ocean Division, as BINX end up going down to 1-3 themselves. Any final thoughts, though, before we wrap up tonight's broadcast?
Well, it was a very short series, but it was a very enjoyable series coming out from an Olaf that you saw that he was in complete command. He was the shot caller because whenever he saw that Kog'Maw, he was flashing in and forcing the rest of his team to respond to him.
Yeah, really well played once again from Phoenix Rebirth Embers, taking the series win. All that being said, though, that is all the League of Legends we have for tonight. So until next time on the Upsurge Esports Twitch channel, for everyone here, admins, production crew, producer tonight, of course, Reed HD. My name is Finnick.
And I am a Nightstar.
And we will see you very soon, right back here on the Upsurge Esports Twitch channel. Tune in Rocket League. We have a Rocket League game going on, I believe, on the other Upsurge channel. So if you like that, go ahead and take a watch as well.
We're off, Reed?